to you by Penguin.
Police, written by Nesbo, read by Sean Barrett. The moral right of the author has been asserted. It was asleep in there, behind the door. The inside of the corner cupboard smelt of old wood, powder residue, and gun oil. When the sun shone through the window into the room, a strip of light shaped like an hourglass travelled from the keyhole into the cupboard, and, if the sun was at precisely the right angle, there would be a matte gleam to the gun lying on the middle of the shelf. It was a Russian Odessa, a copy of the better-known Stechkin. The ugly automatic pistol had had a peripatetic existence, travelling with the Cossacks in Lithuania to Siberia, moving between the various Urka headquarters in southern Siberia, becoming the property of an ataman, a Cossack leader, who had been killed Odessa in hand by the police before ending up in the Nizhny Tagil home of an arms-collecting prison director. Finally, the weapon was brought to Norway by Rudolf Asayev, alias Dubai, who, before he disappeared, had monopolized the narcotics market in Oslo with the heroin-like opioid violin. Oslo, the very town where the gun now found itself, in Holmenkollenveien, to be precise, in Rakel Falka's house. The Odessa had a magazine that could hold 20 rounds of Makarov 9x18mm caliber and could fire single shots and salvos. There were 12 bullets left in the magazine. 3 of them had been fired at Kosovo Albanians, rival dope pushers. Only 1 of the bullets had bitten into flesh. The next 2 had killed Gusto Hansen, a young thief and drug dealer who had pocketed Asayev's money and dope. The gun still smelt of the last 3 shots, which had hit the head and chest of the ex-police officer Harry Hula during his investigation into the above-mentioned murder of Gusto Hansen. And the crime scene had been the same. Hausmannsgata 92. The police still hadn't solved the Hansen case, and the 18-year-old boy who had initially been arrested had been released, mostly because they hadn't been able to find or link him to any murder weapon. The boy's name was Oleg Falka, and he woke every night staring into the darkness and hearing the shots. Not those that had killed Gusto, but the others, the ones he had fired at the policeman who had been a father to him when he was growing up, who he had once dreamt would marry his mother, Rakel. Harry Hula. Oleg's eyes burned into the night, and he thought of the gun in the distant corner cupboard, hoping that he would never see it again, that no one would see it again, that it would sleep until eternity. He was asleep, in there, behind the door. The guarded hospital room smelt of medicine and paint. The monitor beside him registered his heartbeats. Isabel Skøyen, the councillor for social affairs at Oslo City Hall, and Mikael Bellman, the newly appointed chief of police, hoped they would never see him again. That no one would see him again. That he would sleep until eternity. Part 1. Chapter 1. It had been a long, warm September day. The light transformed Oslo Fjord into molten silver and made the low mountain ridges, which already bore the first tinges of autumn, glow. It was one of those days that make Oslo natives swear they will never, ever move. The sun was sinking behind Ullern Ridge, and the last rays swept across the countryside, across the squat, sober blocks of flats, a testimony to Oslo's modest origins, across lavish penthouses with terraces that spoke of the oil adventure that had made the country one of the richest in the world, across the junkies at the top of Stensparken, and into the well-organized little town, where there were more overdoses than in European cities 8 times larger.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?